1 2 1 2. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, I will start with inference first. Your SPQ is going to have inferences, a lot of inferences. Very simple. Okay, even my upper sec are still making these mistakes. Major things are, make sure that when you do the question tomorrow, when you look at the questions, I want you to highlight the word, highlight the question word. In this case, the question word here is, what can you learn about? Learner is learn. So when you see the word phrasing is learn, right? And you say, I can tell that, you will get 0. Okay? Because this is what we call unmatched question words. So make sure you just follow how they phrase the question. If you say learn, you write learn. If they say tell, you write tell. If they say opinion, you write opinion. So that's number 1. Number 2, look at what they're asking you for. Okay, in this case, they're asking you about living conditions. Yes, what can you learn? What can you learn about living conditions? So don't go and talk about work. Don't go and talk about leisure. Don't go and talk about other things. Just follow the thing. If it says living conditions, then you jolly well talk about living conditions. If you say that I can learn that life was tough, then this is 0, because it's not asking you about life, it's asking you about living conditions. Very important. Please follow the question. Okay. Next thing, lifting or describing. If you use words in the source, if you use any single word from the source as your inference, then that is called lifting. You will get 1 mark. No matter how long you write, you will still get 1 mark. If you use any single word inside the source as your inference. Okay, if you paraphrase or tell me the story instead of inferring, you're also going to get 1 mark. So we shall avoid all these 1 marks answers. So how do you get higher than 1? Okay, let's look at one more thing. Because this is not an English paper, we are not going to ask you about your understanding, your comprehension. We are not asking you to summarize, to paraphrase. We are asking you to investigate. You must imagine you are a detective with the detective glass. You are investigating, and after you investigate, you come to a conclusion. Okay? When detectives make their conclusion, they make it based on the clues that they see, the evidence they see, and that's how they make their conclusion. They are not telling me about what is the evidence. Okay? A detective doesn't tell the judge or whoever what the evidence is. If not, why do I hire detectives? A detective tells me about the conclusion that they make based on looking at the evidence. Okay? So I have a perfect example here. If you see this picture, what can you infer about work? Yes, I can infer nature of work. Correct, you follow the question. Then your inference is here. It's tough. This is a valid inference. If you say I can infer that they are carrying lots of heavy things, okay, this is called telling a story. This is called you're just describing what the picture shows me, and that's wrong. Okay, this is a description. This is wrong. So please don't do this. If you do it, you will get L11. We don't want any L11 at all. Okay, that's the rule. Okay, so that's for the basic things. So are you clear on the basic things? Are you clear on the basic things? Okay, so now we move on to the next part. Okay, next part is your evidence. So let's say you get your inference correct. Your evidence, evidence, okay, has to be correct as well. What does it mean? That means if you say things like life is harsh. Example, if you say life is harsh, okay, wait, sorry. Okay, let's do it. This evidence mismatch is here. If you talk about nature of work, I can tell that the nature of work was tough. Okay, and then your evidence, you put a generic statement. They work as coolies. What is wrong with this? Is that this only tells me what they work as. They work as coolies. Yes, I know they work as coolies, but why is it tough? Your inference is this keyword here, tough. If your evidence has no inclination or nothing about toughness, it's wrong. Okay, this one doesn't show the word what it means to be tough work at all. Second evidence, they lived in cramped areas. This one is not related to work at all. It's about living conditions, so it's wrong as well, because your inference is nature of work was tough. So if you tell me they live in cramped conditions for your evidence, it's wrong, because it doesn't relate to nature of work. It also doesn't relate to tough. Hence, you will get L22. Yes. Make sure evidence must showcase what you are inferring about, and the inference must showcase nature of work, and then must showcase tough. Yes, so make sure it is clear. Okay, plan out your answer first before you do anything. Okay, no answers for you. And finally, level 3, that is your explanation. Now, please be careful when you explain. You are not paraphrasing. Again, this It's not an English paper. I'm not asking you how you summarize the thing or how you paraphrase it. What is paraphrasing? That means you're saying the same thing in another way. Example, they work from morning to night. This means that they work long hours. Okay, this is the same thing. Working long hours and working from morning to night is the same thing. This is called paraphrasing. It's wrong. Second thing, this means that the work was tough. Now you are just repeating your inference. It's wrong. Or if you just repeat the evidence, it's also wrong. Okay, so please don't repeat the evidence. Okay, please don't repeat. First step is just inference. Yes, please follow the question word. Learn. Okay, if they ask you about living condition, you can write, I can infer that the living conditions was okay, then don't describe. Okay, instead of saying I can infer that they carry lots of heavy things, I know it's implied here in this picture. Tell me, what does it mean to carry a lot of heavy things? It means that nature of work is tough. Okay, this is called the inference. So this is step 1. Okay, it's not that you only can use learn and infer. You must see how they phrase the question. If they say, what can you tell? Then you say, I can tell. Okay, if they say, what can you learn? Then you say, I can learn. Yes, if they say, what can you infer? Then you say, I can infer. So you must follow the question phrasing exactly. So that's step 1. Then step 2, your evidence. Make sure you give me the correct evidence and not a mismatch. Nature of work, tough, means these two things must be inside your evidence. You cannot say they work as coolies, because working as coolies only tells me the work they do, doesn't tell me the toughness. This one, living cramped conditions, does not tell me about work, does not tell me about tough as well. It's about totally different things, not related to nature of work, and hence is not accepted as well. Okay, moral story is, if you are not clear what is accepted evidence, what is not, just write more evidence and you're good to go. Next thing, explanation. Don't paraphrase, don't repeat inference, don't repeat evidence. Okay, when you explain, just ask yourself, what does this evidence imply? What does the evidence imply? Example, life is harsh. How do you know life is harsh? Because the people look bony and skinny. What do you think must have happened such that they look bony and skinny? So it probably means, so to guide your thinking, think of this word probably. Okay, the fact that they look bony and skinny probably means that they didn't have enough to eat and they were treated poorly. Okay, hence life is tough. Can you see, when you do explanation, you are trying to imply something, right? You are not repeating the evidence, you are not repeating the inference, you are not paraphrasing, you are saying probably they look like this because and that's why life is harsh. Okay, so that's called giving me a proper evidence. Okay, try and be as complete as possible. Imagine that you are a detective. You are trying to make your case that this is your conclusion about what happened in the past, and hence you need to explain your evidence well before people can be convinced that what you say is correct. Yes, so this is for explanation. So gentle reminder, okay, your inference word is, what is your inference word? Depending on the question, it can be tell, it can be infer, it can be learn, it can be tell, learn, infer. Okay, around these things. Your evidence, you need to show the marker that now you're going to write evidence. What do you use? What word do you use? Okay, shows. The source shows for picture, says or states for text. Okay, then finally for explanation, how do you show the marker that now you're going to start explaining? Please use means. This means, this implies, this suggests. So use the correct words. Use the correct words. I repeat again. Use the correct words. You're going to be deducted marks if you do not use the correct words. Okay? Tell, infer, learn. Evidence is shows for picture, says or states for text. Explain is means, implies, suggests. To show the marker, you are starting your explanation. Okay, so that is for the format. Now, next thing, let's talk about evaluation. Okay, how do you get the maximum marks? How do you get the maximum marks? How do you get the maximum marks for your evaluation? Okay, first thing, make sure you have one and only one source per paragraph. One source per paragraph. Do not mix 2 or 3 sources together. Okay, by the way, evaluation is your part E question. They will ask you study all sources. Okay, if the question says study all sources, that is your evaluation question. So make sure you give me one source, one paragraph. One source, one paragraph for this. Step 1, brainstorming. How far, if the question, let's say the question is something like this, how far do the sources agree that life was tough? Right? Before you do anything, look at the question. How far do the sources agree that life was tough? That means it's either tough or it's comfortable, right? It's either one or the other, tough or comfortable. Make sure you brainstorm what are some things you will see when you talk about tough life. What will you see when you talk about tough life? So you see things like this: poverty, malnutrition, stress, laborious work, difficult life, uncomfortable lifestyle, physically straining jobs. All these things imply that there's a tough life. Okay, you should know this already in your head when you see the word. Okay, comfortable life. What does it mean? The opposite of tough is comfortable, right? So I should see wealthy, prosperous, afford luxury, easygoing, relaxing, wealth, Achieve things like wealth, money, prosperity, luxury, relaxation, easygoing. This must come to your name, must come to your brain. Okay, brainstorm these things first. Why brainstorm this? Because this is going to help you in your explanation. Because every single source, you need to explain it back to the question. Okay, which is why the source agrees that life is tough, or why the source agrees that life is not tough, it's comfortable. Okay, so that's how you do it. Step 2, choose a source, answer the question. You must always start with agree. Okay, agree or disagree that life was tough. Okay, this one is following question phrasing. Okay, then give me the reason immediately, as it tells me that the reason will come from what you brainstormed just now. Whatever you brainstorm, look at the source, see which word fits inside your brainstorm, and that will give you your inference. Here, so why does source A agree that life was tough? Because source A tells me the inference is the work was laborious. Okay, then state the right evidence. Again, refer to inference notes. The source says that they worked non-stop day and night under the hot sun. Example. Then explain. And we explain the difference between this question and the other questions is you must link back to your main sentence, which is the source agrees life is tough. So how do you explain the evidence to show me that life was tough? That is what you must do for step 4. Okay. This means their work was tiring, physically straining, exhausting. This made it difficult for them to live. Okay, as you can see, all these things I said just now explains what the tough and laborious life actually looks like. And where do you get all these keywords? Again, from your brainstorm. Okay, which is why it's very important that before you do the question, you circle the outcome they want you to achieve. Agree, what is the type of things you will see? Disagree, comfortable life, what are the things you will see? Then you put it all in your explanation and your inference. Then you link back, you finally end with, thus the A agrees that life was tough. One complete paragraph, then you will get the marks for this. Okay, so that is how you do a complete paragraph. So repeat it for 3 more paragraphs. If you have time, do 2 agree, 2 disagree. Don't have time, at least 1 agree, 1 disagree. Okay, you are not going to have time tomorrow, so I want to see every single question you answer with at least 1 paragraph. Do not leave anything blank. The moment you leave anything blank, that's it. Chances of failure is about 60%. Missing 1 question is a big deal, so don't miss any question at all. Okay, so that's for evaluation. That is for evaluation. Of course, there's exam. Of course, there's essays. Yes, that's for evaluation. I'm drinking Liho roasted milk tea with 0% sugar. No cap. Okay, so this is for evaluation. Do you have any question on evaluation? Do you have any question on evaluation before you move on to the next part? So we have done inference, we have done evaluation. Okay, now let's go to essay now, before we move to comparison, because the last thing is comparison, but that one is a bit difficult. If you can't do it, it's okay. Now essay is very important. Essay, where's the essay? Essay will look something like this. Okay, they will ask you to explain how lives of the Indians and Europeans are different. Something like this about the life of the immigrants. Or they can ask you push and pull factors. But let's say they ask you about this, life of the immigrants. Okay, the key thing about essay is I need a main point. Main point should be at the start. And the main point will help you to focus the rest of your essay. So I need two main points. Yes, two main points, two paragraphs. For this chapter, when you get your main points, it will come from here. Your main point will be either living condition, nature of work, or leisure. These are the three main things that they will ask you for chapter 4. That's main point. So when you talk about how their lives are different, you are going to talk about how they are different in terms of either one of these three. So one paragraph for one of them. That is main point. So this is main point. Yes, living condition, nature of work, leisure. Remember and write this down in your first line. Yes. So follow the question phrasing and answer the question in your first line with one of the main points. Okay. Question say the lives. Then you say the lives. The lives of the Indians. Question asks you about Indians. You say the Indians. Question asks you about Europeans. You say the Europeans. Question asks you deferred. Write the word deferred down. Must. I have people who do not write this in previous years. Deferred. Then here's your main point. The life deferred due to the nature of work. So clear main point is stated in the first line. Clear main point is stated in the first line of the question. So once you're done with this, you go on to step 3. Then you give me the sub points. Okay? And link them with the word however. So same as your comparison, this is a sub point. You have given me the main point. Okay, your main point is either one of living conditions, nature of work, and leisure. Now your sub point okay, the question is asking you explain how their lives are different. In what ways are their lives different? So you have to give me your answer based on this. The lives of their immigrants are different because they did different, or they experienced different living conditions. They experienced different types of work. They experienced different type of leisure. This is your main point. Okay, and it must be the same. You must be talking about the same thing. Okay, step 2. Then you give me the following line. What is the sub point? How do the sub points differ? Okay, so remember, sub points are different. So the lives of the Indians and Europeans differed due to the nature of work. Okay, the Indians did laborious work. This is the sub point. the nature of work the Indians did is like your inference. Yes, the nature of work the Indians did was laborious. 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 Okay, however, the Europeans did easy and administrative work. This is your sub point. Okay, sub point is different. Main point is the same, sub point is different. Because one is laborious, the other one is administrative. Or easy, comfortable. Easy and comfortable, this type of words. It's not as physically straining. Okay, so this is how you write the sub points. Understand? So now do you know what is a sub point and what is a main point? Sub point is like your inference, right? If your main point is nature of work, your sub point is laborious. If your main point is nature of work, your sub point can also be it is administrative, it is easy, it's like your inference. Okay? So sub point is like an inference. Main point is the main category, the main topic. Yes, the sub point is where you are getting your difference from. So let me draw a chart for you at the end. Okay, when you do your difference, that means they ask you how different are the lives of the immigrants. Okay, you need to tell me they are different in what way. So main point will be the same, right? If let's say you're talking about Indians and Europeans, right? So your main point, that means in terms of what you want to talk about, in terms of what these two things, these two races are different in terms of their nature of work. So that is your main point. You are talking about nature of work, right? Your sub point is where the difference is going to come, correct? Because they are different. Because one, nature of work is laborious, while for the other is more comfortable. Why? Because it's administrative. Yes, so between the two sub points there must be a direct contrast. Okay, then comes your example. Right, so laborious example will be they work as laborers. Where? In the plantation, in the construction, and so on, so on, so on. Okay, this one, they work in colonial offices. And so on, so on, so on. Yes, can you see? So your answer must be structured in this way. I need the main points, I need the sub point, and then I need the examples, and then I need the explanation after that. Okay, for NA, for the NA people who are watching here, okay, you will stop at example. For the express, you need to explain. That means the example is not enough. Okay, so for Jiren and Gang, You just stop at example, that's it. But for express, you still need to explain. So what if they work as laborers? So what if they work in colonial office? How does it make their life comfortable? Or how does being a laborer make your life tough or difficult? How does being a plantation worker make your life difficult, make your life tough? Okay, that's the last part that you need to explain in 2 or 3 lines. For NA, you don't need to do it, okay? So that's the thing. So let's look at the example again. Okay, so wait. So all these things here, this chart that I gave you, the skeleton of your answer, this is for your 1 paragraph. So I need total 2 paragraphs of this. That means what do you change? You change this. Your second paragraph, you write a different main point, which will give you a different sub points. Okay? So that's how you do it. And where do you get this from? You get this from the notes that I gave you. So let's look at this again. So step 3. So sub points, and you must have the word however. Okay, the Indians did laborious work, however, the Europeans did. My however is here, yes. However, the Europeans did easy and administrative work. Can you see laborious and easy? Direct contrast with each other. That's your sub point. Then you give me the examples. Okay? How do I know this? Because the Indians work as plantation laborers. They also built construction, they built colonial buildings, and they built roads for the British. Now, yes, express. So the express people, you will add these 2-3 lines. What does it mean that they work in buildings and roads and construction and built and jungle laborers and plantation laborers? What does all this means? How does it link? So express people, you need to link it. What does it mean for their lives? Because the question is asking you how are their lives different. So how does this affect their lives? Okay, this means that it was tough, because these kind of jobs in construction, laborers, plantation, jungles are very physically straining. Long hours, little rest, and low pay. Hence, you will be exhausted, right? Life is tough. Life will be tough for them. Difficult, tough, tiring, because they did all these things, and that it makes their lives this way. Okay, then you compare. However, the Europeans work as this, colonial administrative, business, plantation owners, and civil servants. Give me the examples. Then you explain. Okay, NA you don't need to do this part, but express you need to do this part. So what if they work as administrators, owners, and civil servants? Because of the work they do, right, is high pay, is prestigious, is administrative, is comfortable. It will make you have a more easier life, right? Life will not be so tough if you have education and you prosper and you have wealth, you have high salary, right? You can afford to buy luxury. So hence life is comfortable, as these jobs are high pay, high salary, administrative, not physically straining. Okay, and make sure I can see the direct contrast. Finally, you conclude by thus, due to the nature of work. Okay, just repeat the answer, the question again. Okay, so that's how you do it for the essay. I need 2 paragraphs. Okay, so let's talk a bit about leisure. Okay, let's do the same thing again. The difference. Main point. Sub point. Example. Explanation. So Indians, let's say Indians and Europeans. So main point, instead of talking about work, now you talk about leisure. Okay, they are different in terms of the leisure. So the leisure of the Indians, sub point, what would it be? It's more cultural, right? Okay. How about the Europeans? It's more social. It's more economic. Social economic versus cultural. Okay, that's how the leisure differed. Small high class. This one is more low class. Okay, so that's your sub point. Next example. Okay, yeah, your associations, right? They will go to Tamil association. They will go to the temples to pray, to make friends. Whereas here, they will go to balls. They will go to parties. Right? They will attend sporting events. Horse racing. Okay. So how do you explain? So what? Means linked to tradition. It simply means that whatever they did, right? They did it because it's linked to tradition. Yes. Or it's things that they can afford. Affordability. Okay, but how about the Europeans? It's different, The type of recreation they do is more linked to networking. It's linked to business, creating business opportunities. Yes, it's more linked to the privilege they have because they are Westerners, they are Europeans, hence they are more privileged to go inside the horse racing compound. To go inside for these balls and parties, we were exclusive to Europeans. Hence, it makes them more privileged. Whereas the Indians one is more traditional, more because they can afford, cheaper. Okay, it's more related to sense of tradition. Okay, cultural tradition and community. So because of this, because of the leisure that they did, their lives differed, right? One, you have more business opportunities, while the other one, you're more towards tradition and culture. Okay, so this is the thing. This is how you do it for an essay. Okay, we look at this thing paper again, and it will help you. It will help you greatly. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is comparison. Oh, by the way, what did the Chinese do? What did the Chinese do? As their leisure, there's two main things, and only two: smoking, the opium, and gambling. Okay, these are the two main ones. Of course, there's also prostitution, but that's not that important. The two main ones are gambling and opium smoking. Okay, there's also letter writing. So you must remember the types of leisure. That's a leisure that they did. Okay, these are the things. Who is Skylar? Okay, so this part so before we do comparison, push and pull, same thing. If they ask you about push, yes, what's the main point again? The main point is unrest, instability. Please remember, the other main point is poverty, starvation. Right? These are main points. Main points. So sub point, overpopulation and natural disaster. Okay, this one, wars, rebellions. Okay. Okay, don't be distracted. Don't be distracted. This is not for you to chat. Okay, next thing. Pool, what draws people to Singapore? Business and trade opportunities. Right, the other one is jobs. Why is there business and trade? Because of three things. Geographical location, right? Because of location of Singapore, between where and what people do, mostly to refuel, restock, right? And to trade. Okay, second thing is the free ports, right? And second thing, free. Not only is it free port, that means no tax. There's also free immigration, right? That means people can come and go as they please. Okay, job opportunities, because new port, you will need to build your infrastructure, so you need people to work in the plantations, you need to work in the harbors, you need people to work transport, you need people to work in food hawkers. So that's why there's new job opportunities. Yes, know the main points, know what the main points are about for push and pull. So that is for this part. Okay, NA and history together. NA and history, I mean NA and express, same thing. Know this and write it clearly in the exam paper. Okay, now last thing. Okay, essay. Any more question for essay? Then I'll go on to the last thing, which is comparison. Now for your inference, for your inference, if you want to know what types of keywords you can use for inference, right, you must be specific, like what I say. If you say nature of work, if you say living conditions, don't give me harsh, give me uncomfortable. Okay, I want to see these things inside your answer. So your inference, right, I need the type of things related. So these are all inside the Quizlet, right? So living conditions, what type of words do you use for living conditions, right? What type of words do you use for nature of work? What type of words? What type of words? Right? What type of words do you use for relationship? Relationship between races. What type of words do you use for this? What type of words do you use for living conditions? What type of words do you use for work? What type of words do you use for life? Yes, all these things are in your Quizlet. Okay, relationship, things like strain, right? Close relationship. Life, things like harsh life. Poverty, a life of poverty, a life of wealth. prosperity. So these words are. How about work? Work, you say work, yes, comfortable. Right, administrative. Comfortable, administrative, easy. Prestigious. Or the opposite will be harsh. Yes, harsh. Straining work. Or laborious. Yes, the keyword laborious. Work is laborious. Living conditions. Okay, again. Comfortable or opposite, unhygienic. Unhygienic. Cough. Very dirty, very messy. So things like this. So living conditions, cramped. So these are the keywords. More of them were in your Quizlet. Just do the Quizlet, and you will know what are the key things, right? So how do you explain? How do you explain? 2 to 3 words, 2 to 3 lines of explanation. Make sure it links back to this. Yes. Okay. So finally, last one, comparison. Okay, what is the main theme of this whole part? What is the main theme? In last 10 minutes, the whole main theme of this thing is about life in colonial Singapore. Right? So when you do comparison, the comparison would link to the theme. Okay, so for NA there's no comparison, only for Express. So for NA you can switch off for now. Okay, they're gonna ask you life in. Okay, one more thing, for your inference. Do not give me things like good, bad, horrible, terrible. These are not valid inferences. These are not valid. Okay, I need more specific things other than good, bad, horrible, terrible. Okay. So finally, life in colonial Singapore is the theme. Okay, you must do both. I need one difference and one similarity. Okay, out of this, one of these will relate to the theme. Okay, and what is the theme? The theme is about life. So if they ask you different, okay, it's going to relate to the theme. Yes. So the theme is about life. So pick out from both sources what is the difference in terms of their lives, in terms of their work. So lives, work, relationship. Okay, the key topics of the chapter, right? Lives, work, relationship, leisure. Okay, either both will be the same or both will be different. So comparison is the same thing. For difference, it's the same as your essay. The format, everything is the same. Okay, BOC stands for basis of comparison. Okay, when you compare, make sure your basis of comparison is the same. Yes, so let's say this is source A, this is source B. Okay, that means why you're comparing the same thing. So these two must be the same. Okay, example, you're comparing life. If you're comparing life, make sure you're comparing life for both. So both tell me the life of the immigrants. Yes, so BOC, basis of comparison, must be the same. Okay, then next thing is your inference. Okay, inference, what does it mean? It just means what kind of life. Example, if you're comparing the life, right? So what kind of life? So of course there'll be direct contrast, right? So it's different now. A and B will have different inferences about life, but although they're different, you must make sure, although they're different, they still must be direct contrast. Okay, that means you must not hot go with cold, right? Hot and cold. Example of direct contrast: hot and cold, ugly, beautiful. So the two inferences you make must go together. Okay, it cannot be something else totally different. So BOC, same, inference different. That is where your difference comes from. Okay, then next, evidence. Of course your evidence will be different, right? Then your explanation is also different. Yes, so you just need to make sure your BOC is the same. You're talking about life of the immigrants. One is good, no, don't say good, right? One is comfortable, one is not one is comfortable, one is okay. Try not to use the word not. Okay, either say one is beneficial, one is harmful. So things that are direct contrast with one another. Okay, then inside explanation is some of the reasons. Okay, so difference will be related to the theme. And the theme is things, life in colonial Singapore. So things like lives, work, relationship, leisure. Pick it out and write it down. Yes, so for similarity, okay, let's say, or difference, let's say one of the similarity or difference is about the theme of life in colonial Singapore. Okay, that means the other one that you write down, it will relate to the, it will either relate to the characters inside the source, it will relate to the situation, yes, so relate to these things: character, situation, or atmosphere. That means both can say that immigrants, either they can say immigrants experiencing the same thing, same things or different things. Both can say that during that time Singapore had what kind of situation going on, right? People are more angry, I don't know. Both show that people were angry at the government, something like this. Or both show the atmosphere is filled with fear, right? Fear for the future, fear for whatever things. So that is called difference. That is called the situation. Okay, so the format is as follows. Okay, last one. So for difference, you have your rectangle. That means what? Write the BOC first. Both sources are different Okay, with regards to, let's say, the work of the immigrants. So give me the BOC first. Then after that, give me your. After that, then you give me the inference. Yes, the inference is different, right? So here, A tells me this is your inference. Then use the magic word, however. P tells me inference. And these two things must be matching. They are different, but they must match in terms of you're talking about the same things. Yes, like what I said just now, right? Ugly, beautiful, hot, cold. They are different, but they are matching. Topic is the same. Beneficial, harmful. Then here, evidence plus explain of A. Then you write the word however. Then evidence plus explain of B. Okay, that's for difference. Now for similarity is a triangle. Similarity is easier, so write the BOC first. Since they are the same, right, they will have the same inference. So both sources are similar in telling me that work. Example, that work was laborious. Because your inference is the same, hence you just need to write once. Okay, both tell me that work is laborious. BOC is about work, inference is about laborious. Then next, evidence of A. Okay, plus explain. Because it's the same, instead of using however, now you use similarly. Then evidence plus explain of B. So that's how you do explanation. That's how you do similarity. Yes, that's it. So that is your comparison. So you have inference, you have comparison, you have evaluation, you have the essay. 1 hour 10 minutes. Plan your answer. If you want to rewatch this, you can just rewatch it. It's going to be posted on YouTube again under this channel. You can just watch it as many times as you want. I will put some show notes to let you know which minute I'm talking about what thing, so it's easier for you to understand. Okay, any more things? Okay, nothing. In about 5 minutes time the video should be up, then you can watch it again before you sleep. Okay, please sleep earlier so that you can have more energy to do it and you won't fall asleep. You'll be more alert to